Welcome to Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. I'm Doug, and today we're going to create a spooky, gothic, witchy Halloween wreath. So stay tuned. Okay, so let's talk about what we're going to need for our spooky gothic wreath. First of all, it's always a good idea to sketch out what you're going to do. So that's one thing you're going to need is a sketch. And next we're going to need some scissors, wire cutters, a glue gun, and some glue sticks, probably around 2 glue sticks you'll need. Some twigs or little sticks. We're going to need definitely some black burlap. And these are the crows that I got off of Amazon. I have the different picks here, the different branches, and those pumpkin picks. And then, of course, you're going to need your wreath, your styrofoam wreath. And if you look here, that is a hook that I'm going to show you how to make. Welcome to Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. I'm Doug, and today we're going to make our Halloween wreath. How exciting is that? So I just went through some of the supplies that you're going to need if you're going to make something like this. All these items pretty much can be found at any craft store, Hobby Lobby. The crows that I purchased though, I got these off of Amazon, which I think they're really pretty. I forgot how much they were, but they were fairly inexpensive. So I got 2 crows and they look really cool. They have really nice feathers on them. I did decide for the pumpkins to go with this pick that I got at Hobby Lobby. These are the distressed pumpkins. These are not the velvet pumpkins. I'm going to use the velvet pumpkins for something else. But I think these are going to look really cool with the wreath and how it's all going to look. So as I showed you in the supplies, always start with a sketch. I always like to start out by sketching out what I have in mind, what's my idea. So I did a quick little sketch here, and basically here's the wreath ring, and then I have the branches that are sticking out, which they're plastic, which I'm really happy about because of Yvonne's front door. He stained the front door. He did a really nice job on it, beautiful job on it, and he worked really hard on it, so I don't want to do anything that's going to scratch it up. So all these items are super soft. So soft plastic branches, not real branches, and all the picks are very soft, and you know, the fabric or material on it is very soft. And so I also got some black off of Amazon, some black baby breath. So I wanted to add some black to this besides using the burlap, the black burlap. That's just going to be the wraparound. That's going to be sort of like the base. But all the picks and everything is going to be on top of that. So you probably won't see that much of this, which that's the way I have it. That's what's in my head right now. And so anyway, the picks are going to cover that up pretty much. And I did get different color branches because I wanted some variety. I didn't want them all to be the same color. So let's go through those branches. Okay, so welcome back. So let's look at these branches. Now, the real long ones that I showed you in the last video, the Hobby Lobby shopping video, I cut. So that's why you're going to need wire cutters. Those branches were super long and they were kind of wide, and it would have been way too big for this wreath. It would have been sticking out, probably wouldn't have fit the door. And I didn't want them that long anyway, so I cut them. So now they're all around this length, which is going to be a great length. But notice this is sort of like a dark brown. And then I got this one. This one I got off of Amazon, which I didn't mention in the last video. These I got off of Amazon. They were fairly inexpensive. I can't remember how much they were. I'm trying to think. But they weren't that bad. And I'll try to look up that price for you and pop it in on the video. But they weren't that bad, but I like these because number one, of the size, and number two, that it's a lighter color than this one. So I think it's going to have some nice contrast. And this is plastic too, so it's not going to mess up the door. So I really love that. And then at Hobby Lobby, I got those autumnal picks. And I also cut those down because they were a little too big. And these are those autumnal picks. So I'm gonna have this sort of like at the base where the crows are going to be. It's almost gonna be like a crow's nest. So I'm going to put a few of these down there. And I also got these random sticks. I just have this in my art room, craft room. And so these are just some random sticks that I might kind of hot glue down there together like the birds collected it. And I'm gonna put that at the base too. So I'm gonna sort of like make my own bird's nest in a way. So that's gonna be there. And then this is the black baby breath. Now these came as a pick, it was longer, and I cut these down too, because I think this is gonna make a nice size. Another good pointer for you guys, that if you're going to do that and you're using wire cutters, always cut at an angle, because that's going to make it easier to poke into the styrofoam wreath. All right, so you want to cut it at an angle. It's just going to make it a little bit easier. But I love these, the black baby breath. It's going to add some spookiness to this wreath, which I'm really happy about. So this was a good find off of Amazon. And once again, I'll look up the price for you on that, because I can't remember offhand. Another thing that you might need, I have some black, this is some black pipe cleaner, two black pipe cleaners that I actually tied together. And I actually made it, it was tied together, so it was sort of like a circle. And then what I did, I just, well here I can show you right now. All you do, let me take this off. All right, so here's my, I tied them together, my black pipe cleaners, and all you do is kind of bend it, and then you put it over your wreath like that, and then just put one side into the other, and hold on. You put one side into the other, and you pull the other one down, and then you just kind of secure it like that, and that's going to be the hanger. That's what's going to hang. Now this black burlap is going to cover all this green and even some of that pipe cleaner, so only about that much of that pipe cleaner is going to be showing. So anyway, we're going to get started, and I'm super excited. I think it's going to turn out awesome. You ready? Let's go. Okay, so we're back, and I put on my glue gun here. I'm letting that heat up and preparing everything. So the very first step you want to do is you're going to wrap the burlap around the wreath. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start probably right next to the, I'm going to start right next to the little hanger. And I'm going to hot glue this part down, and then I'm going to start to wrap. And every so often, I'm going to see a good place to add some hot glue. Now, one thing that I like about the black burlap is that it has these little holes in it. So when we use the picks, it's going to poke right through the burlap. So that's a good thing, all right? Because if you had some fabric or material that is solid and you can't poke through it, that's not going to help you. Now you could, if you want, you could paint this and spray paint it, but I didn't want to do that. I wanted to add the burlap to it. I think it's going to look better. And so let me get started on that. I'm going to wait a little bit longer for my hot glue gun to heat up, and then that's going to be the very first step. Well, very first step was putting on the hook, or the little hanger, and then we're going to wrap. We're just going to wrap this around, and I'll show you up close how you do that. Okay, so we're going to start. I'm going to add a little hot glue to my wreath, and I'm just going to begin, and I'm going to just start wrapping around. Okay, you want to make sure you pull it tight. Okay. It really helps to have that first layer of hot glue. And don't burn yourself like I always do. I always burn myself. It just never fails. So I'm gonna just start wrapping. Okay, so I'm pretty much down to the bottom part here. And so I have a little bit left over. Hopefully you can see that. So what I want to do is I want to hot glue this at the base. I just like to tap it with the glue gun so I don't get my fingers all burnt. All right, so there you go. So this is the ring right now with the burlap on it. And notice my tie is on top. Very important with your hook, I should say, not the tie. The hook should be, make sure you know where the top is gonna be. So if it's gonna hang, this is the top part, all right? So that's important. All right, so now I'm gonna start adding my picks. Now, it's so important, once again, let me remind you guys to always have a sketch so you kind of know exactly what you're doing. And then I'm gonna lay it out, and I'm gonna show you what it looks like with it just laid out, and then we'll start adding the picks and all the fun stuff. Now here I noticed that even that I cut my branches already, but I noticed when I laid them down by my wreath that they were still a little too long. So I went through and I continued to cut off a little bit more on each one. And that's super important because of the door. Always measure your door, the width, and you want to take that in consideration. And so I think it came to 3 feet going across was the door. And so I wanted to make sure it wasn't longer than that. Also, what's important is to make sure that you put the 2 short ones on the side and measure those, and then you'll have the 2 long ones on top and bottom. Okay, so what I noticed was I had to snip these even more. It's super important to measure the width of your door. So when you're doing a wreath, always measure the width of your door so you can make sure everything is gonna fit. Because don't forget, these branches are gonna be sticking out. And so I wanna make sure that they are definitely going to fit. So looking at your wreath, you wanna put the branches that are the shortest, you want to put them on the side, so this way you'll make sure that they fit in the width. The taller ones, like these 2, I left these a little bit longer, or I didn't really cut them, because they're going to be at the top, and the other one's going to be at the bottom, all right? So I think that's going to work out really nicely. Also, these, I can't really cut these, and these already have the kind of like the poker to poke it through the wreath, but these are fine because these are actually going to be stuck in and they're going to be protruding outwards. Okay, so these lighter ones are going to be protruding outwards. These are going to kind of remain more flat. All right, so now what I want to do is I'm going to place everything on here and then make sure it looks good, and then I'll start fixing it up. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is, I just kind of laid out the picks and placed things where I think I want them for right now. I think I'm just gonna have some pumpkins going up on the side, not around the whole thing. And then I got my 2 crows. Now my 2 crows will show a little bit better because this won't be so sticking out so much. And I'm gonna add some of those sticks down there, like I said, make it look like a bird's nest. But I think it's gonna look really cool, kind of gothic, kind of spooky. So I'm excited. Okay, let's start putting it together. Okay, so right now I have the top part done. Here's the hook in the back. Make sure you put that hook in the back. And the ones on the side are the shortest ones. So This measures a little less than 3 feet, and the door is 3 feet, so I think that's gonna work. These kind of go up a little bit, so I think it's gonna be fine. It's gonna fill up the door, but yet it's not gonna go past the door. All right, so I'm gonna continue with the bottom, adding the branches, and then we're gonna start on the other picks. Okay, so one thing I like to do is actually hang it up on my door before I continue adding the picks, just so I can get a better feel at the size and the width. So as you can see, it's pretty good. It goes a little past here, but it pops out. So I think that's gonna be fine. I don't think it's gonna get caught in the door. Now this side over here, same thing over here. I don't think these are gonna get caught in the door. If I open the door, you can see that it's not going to do anything, even the top part. So I think everything else looks good, and I'm really happy with it. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna continue adding my extra picks. The other picks will be popping out this way, so it's not gonna affect anything with the side, and also my peephole, it's still visible. So, all right, so I'm gonna continue, let's get busy. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna add are these picks, and these picks are the ones that are gonna be popping out. I'm actually gonna bend them just a little bit. So what I wanna do is I wanna pop this in here. All right, that looks good. All right, so hopefully you can see that. Let me turn it around. This is the top one, and I'm gonna continue adding these others going around. All right, so when we come back, those should be done. Okay, so I wanted to show you with the lighter ones, and you can really see how it pops now. And it kind of pops out actually, and I think it looks really good. It kind of brings some dimension into it. It's not so flat. And by these popping out, I think it's gonna go perfect. Now, I love how these are kind of like this, almost like it's hugging, because this is where the crow's nest is gonna be, right over here. And I think it's gonna look really good, so let's continue. Okay, so I wanted to show you, I added the autumnal picks on the side. It's kind of going out like that. Looking at my crows, I wanna make sure that my crows are really noticeable, because they could get buried with all this stuff. So I don't want anything that's gonna be up in here where they're gonna be. Hopefully you can see that. Let me show you. Just like up in here. So what I'm gonna do is with this one, because notice if I put this here, it would be like really popping out. So I'm actually gonna cut this again, and I'm gonna put it in very gently, very delicately in here. And then we'll start adding the black baby's breath too, and those sticks for the little nest for the crows. All right, it's looking good. Okay, so I'm loving what I did so far. I kind of did like a little bird's nest. I actually had some of this moss upstairs in the craft room, which I forgot that I had. So I'm just kind of hopefully the birds won't really come and pick at it. But anyway, I think it's gonna be really cool. Then I'm gonna add my crows right there. And I'm also going to add the baby breath. So actually now I'm gonna go around and add this baby breath. This baby breath will pretty much cover a lot of this black, and kind of cover up the entrances of the branches a little bit. So I think that's gonna look really cool. All right, let's continue. Okay, so I put it on the door again just to take another look, and I'm gonna continue adding these baby breaths. Look at these, aren't these awesome? And I'm gonna just continue filling up around the black. I love the bird's nest. I think it turned out really cute. And I might even put a small little sprig right here and make it smaller actually, right over here. And I think that looks really good. Oh my gosh, it's looking great. It's very spooky. Okay, so now what I'm doing is with my pumpkins that were on this stick here, I just cut them, and I am just poking them randomly into the wreath, and adding just a little bit of hot glue. Excuse me. Adding just a little bit of hot glue so it's pretty much secure. they poked really nicely, so it is looking really good. I don't know about you guys, but I think it's looking really good. And this is something that you guys can make instead of, like I said, what I spent for it. Could I buy a Halloween wreath? Probably, but it would not look like this. And it wouldn't have, I think, the quality of the picks and in your imagination. So let me just add a little bit there. I was just gonna do it up the side, but I think I'm just gonna put it all over. I can add maybe one over here. And a little hot glue. And make sure it's poked in there. Now, the burlap was really a pretty good idea. The reason why is because it has those holes in it, like I told you. I did double certain sections, so it made it a little difficult sometimes to get it in, but once I got it through the hole, it was fine. And there we go. Like that part right there had a little extra, but I love it. I think it looks good. It's very spooky. Let's see what we have so far. Looking good. I'm liking it. I think I'm gonna add some, let me see. I want my birds there. Let me hang it on the door and take a look. Okay, so I'm taking a look at it. I'm liking it, looks good. I'm going to add, I think, maybe 2 more pumpkins up in there because it looks like it's too much gathered over here. So I want to have some balance, but otherwise I think it looks good. And now the last thing we're going to add is our crows. Yes. Well, it is done. My spooky Gothic Halloween wreath is finally complete. I love how the 2 crows are right by the nest, and I put the pumpkin around to give it a pop of color, and it looks very spooky with those branches coming out. I just love it. I think it's gonna look really cool on the other side of the door. But for right now, it's just gonna hang up here just for a little bit so I can take a good look at it, see if I need to make any adjustments, but I think it looks pretty good. All right, there we go. Awesome. So we have our witch's wreath, our Gothic witch's wreath, and it's all complete. So maybe this will give you guys out there a little idea if you want to make your own wreath, and it's a lot of fun, and you get to create it yourself. In fact, when I think about my picture that I had, I just sketched it out and then the final results. So I'm really, really happy with it. All right, well, thank you so much for watching. Happy Healthy Living with Yvonne Douglas. And if you have not subscribed, please subscribe and like this video and leave a comment below. All right, until next time. Happy Healthy Living. Bye-bye.